What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another live stream from Scalar Learning. And this is the week, this is the day we're studying for the upcoming SAT, and it's right around the corner. It's this coming Saturday on March 9th. And here we go. Okay, just a quick sound check. Now, I'm so excited that we're kicking this off, especially on a Sunday. And this time around, I've scheduled it out so we actually end on Thursday for the series of live streams. And the reason why is because ideally I want you guys to be done studying on Thursday and study really hard Thursday, and then Friday take the day to unwind, relax, and disconnect. I think that's important leading up to a big test like this that has so much impact on your life and your dreams and everything else. Another thing I want to say is that when it comes down to this week-long cram session, now it'll vary based on how much you've already practiced, the time you've put in. But I do want to say that for the last few times that I've done this, I've heard amazing stories of people that have reached out to me and said they followed along each and every day with these live streams and prepped and just watched me go through each test, because that's what we're going to be doing. I'm going to be solving tests in real time, then taking questions afterwards, of course. But they've written back to me and they've told me about how their scores have jumped by 50 points, 100 points. In a short period of time, you can see a really nice boost. I really believe that is credited to the fact that there's a lot of benefit and value when you watch somebody solve it, not just giving an explanation and saying, hey, this is, of course, how you do it and whatnot. And I do think I can do that really well in general. But I think there's something to the fact that you're watching me do it under timed conditions. And those timed conditions, it's like you can really see not just how to solve it, but how to solve it when you're in the mix on test day, and how to do it efficiently and effectively and quickly. So anyways, there is a finite amount of math on this test. I hopefully you're at a pretty good stage right now. But in the next 5 days, I want to get you from wherever you're at now. I want to increase that substantially. The last thing I'm going to say before I jump into the practice test is on Thursday. Thursday is going to be a really big day, probably the most important day. Because these days, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, I'm going to be taking either a no calculator section or a calculator section and talking about that. But on Thursday, I'm going to be taking a full-length exam. Both the calculator and non-calculator section, plus a presentation with 5 really important tips that you should remember on test day. And then I'll be ending with questions. So Thursday will be a little bit of a longer live stream. So anyways, that's the schedule. Make sure to check it. After today, it's going to be 11 a.m. every day for the live streams, 11 a.m. PST. Okay, without further ado, let's jump into it. Hey, so Ayush, I'm actually not taking the... Yes, so let me answer 2 questions. Ayush, I am not taking the March SAT. The reason why is because I just have too many tutoring appointments this Saturday that I couldn't move. And for Natalia, do I believe a week can make a difference? Absolutely. I know it can make a difference because I've seen it happen with students that have written to me and told me about how they've experienced big jumps just from watching these every day and prepping really hard for a week. So yes, absolutely, a week can make a difference. What you should do is message me later on as well. Here's my email address. I'll put it up here. Message me later on. Give me some more specifics about where you're at, what you've been doing for preparation. I mean, it all depends. It's different for every person. I can't say every person will grow by 50 points or 100 points in this week. It all depends on what you've done up till now and where you're at. But absolutely, a week can make a difference. And I think that watching along and asking a lot of questions over this period can be really impactful. So email me there, give me some more details, and we can talk, and hopefully you can jump in. Hopefully you can jump into these live streams each and every day. But if not, you can watch it on repeat, and feel free to ask me more questions. Okay? Yeah, you're welcome. No worries. Now, let's get into it. So I'm all primed up and ready to take the no calculator section. Now, usually I like to take these tests completely blind so you can see a more authentic test taking experience. However, in this case, I'm taking practice tests 1 and 2 over the next 4 days, which I have taken before. Actually, I've taken them twice before. It's been a little while, but I'm just giving that caveat that I have seen these questions before. That being said, I'm still going to go in and explain how to do them all under time setting. So here we go. Ready, set, begin. No calculator. 20 questions, 25 minutes. So you see you have a little bit over a minute for each. And here we go. Okay. All right, if x minus 3, x minus 1, excuse me, over 3 equals k, and k equals 3, boom, what is the value of x? Let's solve and isolate. X minus 1 equals 3 times 3, which is 9, plus 1 is 10. Boom, there we go. There's question number 1. Question number 2. Okay, this is an imaginary number problem. First of all, these parentheses are doing nothing, right? Because they're only separated by addition signs. -8 plus 9i. Okay, so I'm just going to go ahead and get rid of these parentheses because they don't do anything. And then I'm going to combine like terms. The 7 combines with the -8, 3i, 9i. Just treat it like a variable in this case. It's totally the same. 7 plus -8 is -1. 3i plus 9i is 12i. There you go. -1 plus 12i. All right, next. On Saturday afternoon, Arnaud sent M text messages each hour for 5 hours. So he sent 5 hours worth of at M per hour, so 5M total. Tyrone sent P text messages each hour for 4 hours. So if he sent P for 1 hour, they'd be 2P for 2 hours, 3P, 4P. So 4P for 4 hours, which represents the total number of messages sent by these two. Well, guess what? This is one guy, this is the other. Add them together. 5M plus 4P. We cannot combine them like to make it 9MP. You don't do that with variables. They stay separate, and this is the best we can do in terms of simplification. Next, number 4. Kathy is a repair technician for a phone company. Each week, she receives a batch of phones that need repairs. The number of phones that she has left to fix at the end of each day can be estimated in the equation P equals 108 minus 23D, where P is the number of phones left and D is the number of days she has worked that week. What is the meaning of the value of 108? Okay, look, this is the constant. That's it. So that's our starting point no matter what in any linear equation, which this is because there's no exponents. So that's my starting amount of whatever it is. It's not that she'll complete it in that many days. It's this. Starts each week with 108 phones to fix. After day 1, she reduces that by 23, day 2 by 46, etc. So this is our starting point, and that's it. Okay, next. That constant will have nothing to do with rate. Next, what is the following is equivalent to this? Okay, we got to simplify x squared y minus 3y squared plus 5xy squared. I'm going to distribute the negative as I write this down, so everything that's negative will be positive. So it's positive x squared y minus 3xy squared plus 3y squared. You see how I'm flipping everything. And then these are common terms. These are common terms, and these are common terms. Excuse me. Okay, my voice just cracked. X squared y, add these together, it's 2x squared y. These two are going to cancel out, negative and negative gone, and then that's negative and positive. So that's negative 3 plus 5 is 2xy squared, and that's it. 2x squared y plus 2xy squared. Boom, done. Next. A pediatrician uses the model to estimate the height of a boy in inches in terms of the boy's age in years between ages of 2 and 5. Based on the model, what is the estimate increase in inches of a boy's height each year? This is it. Look, slope. This is rate of change. How much does it go up each year? 3 inches. That's it. You don't have to plug anything in. Just recognize that slope is the rate of change. If the boy equals 2, it's 6 plus 28 is 34. 3, 9 plus that is 27. It just goes up by 3 every time. Next. The formula gives the monthly payment M need to pay off a loan of P dollars at R, whatever, blah, 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 blah. Which of the following gives P in terms of M, R, and N? All this means, you don't have to understand it. P in terms of blah, blah, blah. Isolate P. That's all it's saying. So all I'm going to do is first, I'm going to multiply both sides by the denominator. Okay, so I've got, this is just a lot of stuff to write. So it's R over 1200. Oh, let me see how we're doing time-wise. Oh, boy. Where's the time? I don't see it. Hold on. Let me just maximize this for a second. 21 minutes left. Okay, we're doing good. I like to be ahead of schedule here because things get harder later on. Okay, so then we've got 1 plus R over 1200. Oops. Come on. To the n equals, we multiply both sides by this, so it's, then we've got 1 plus R over 1200 minus 1, right, to the n. And this whole thing times m, right, because we're multiplying by m. And then we divide both sides by this. to just get rid of, oh, I forgot the P. Divided both sides by R over 1200 times 1 plus R 1200 to the N. Okay, and this has now gotten rid of all this. And P equals this. So we've isolated it. Now let's find the answer. No, R over 1200 is going to be on the denominator, so that's wrong. This one looks like maybe. Yeah, I think it's this one. This one I'm just going to, yeah, these are totally wrong. So it's B. Done. Next. Okay. If A over B equals 2, what is the value of 4B over A? Okay, A over B equals 2, which means, hold on. A equals 2B, and then, got it, okay. Then we divide both sides by 2, and it's A over 2 equals B, and then divide both sides by A, that cancels out. So 1/2 equals B over A. So why did I do this? Because this is really 4 times B over A, right? I can pull that out. Since B over A equals 1/2, 4 times 1/2 equals 2. Right? That means B over A is 1/2? Yeah. Okay, next. I know these, okay, system of equations. Boom, let's solve, let's solve for this. You can use one of two options. You can use substitution or elimination. I'm always partial to elimination, which means I need to line up the x's and the y's. I think elimination is just easier. So what we do with elimination is we want to choose a variable and match it up with the top and the bottom, but be opposites. This is so easy to do with this because I'm going to multiply the bottom by 3, and it'll be a negative 3x and a positive 3x. So we multiply everything. We get negative 3x plus 6y equals negative 57. You can see, right, as well, how the fact that I'm pretty fast with mental math, how that comes in so handy. 3 times 19, I can do that mentally without really any hesitation. Negative 3x plus 3x, boom, gone. 6y plus 4y, 10y equals negative 57 plus negative 23 is negative 80. Divide both sides by 10. Y equals negative 8. Which ones of these have negative 8? It's got to be this, but just for safekeeping, I'm going to plug in negative 8 here, and I get 3x. You don't need to do this. I'm just going to do it for you. You're pretty safe here. Add 32 to both sides. 32 to both sides. And that's 3x equals 9, x equals 3, which is exactly what we've got there. And I'm satisfied with that. I'm not going to plug it back in and double check because we got to keep moving. Next. For the function g defined above, a is a constant, and g of 4 equals 8, we can immediately solve for a. So when we plug in 4, we get g of x equals 8. So I'm going to replace g of x with 8. I'm going to replace x with 4 and solve for a. Subtract 24 from both sides. Negative 16 equals a. 4 squared is 16. Divide by 16, right? A equals negative 1. So if a equals negative 1, we now know g of x equals negative x squared plus 24. What is the value of negative 4 squared? I plug in negative 4. It's the same because 4 squared and negative 4 squared are the same. But let's just, oh, shoot. Yeah, negative 4 squared. Don't forget that negative's still out there. I'll just show you it's negative 16, right? Because negative 4 squared is 16, but still apply the negative. Negative 16 plus 24 is 8. So it's still 8. Same value. And the equations above, B and C represent price per pound in dollars of beef and chicken, respectively, X weeks after July 1st during last summer. What was the price per pound of beef, the top equation, when the price of beef was, okay, so when these two are equal, immediately I'm setting these guys equal to each other. That's what it's telling me. Two equations, 0.75 plus 0.4x, okay? Let's subtract 0.25x from both sides. I'm arbitrarily doing it that way. I like the variables to be positives easier in my mind, but do whatever works for you. You can go either way. And then I'm going to subtract 1.75 here. Boom. And that is 0.6. Positive equals this. Divide both sides by 0.15. This is the same as 60 divided by 15, right? Because we can go boom, 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 boom. X equals 4. So at 4 weeks is when they're equal, but now we want the price per pound. What was the price per pound of beef? It actually doesn't matter because the prices are equal. But now we're gonna plug in 4 for that for either equation, really 2.35 plus times 4. 4 times 0.25 is $1. And you could plug this into the other equation if you want to prove that they're equal, which they will be, but that's fine. And we don't need to, I'm not going to waste my time here. Pretty confident. Okay, next, a line in the xy plane passes through the origin, has a slope of 1/7. That means it's 1/7 x with no y-intercept because it goes through the origin. That is the y-intercept of 0. So here's my equation for the line. Which of the following points lie on the line? AKA, where can I plug in this x and get the relative y value? If I plug 0 in for x, I get 0 for y, so that's out. If I plug in 1 for x, I get 1/7 for y, not 7. If I plug in 7 for x, I get 1 for y, not 7, right? Plus 7 times 1/7 is 1. But this one works. Watch, y equals 1/7 times 14. 1/7 of 14 is 2, and that's the y coordinate there, and so we're good. All right, next. Okay, this is I would say pretty difficult problem. Now we're getting between 13 through 15 are going to be tough. If you get stuck on these problems, jump ahead to 16 through 18. Those will be a lot easier on the free response usually. So that's a pretty quick pro tip that I'll go over on Thursday in more detail. Okay, first things first, we cannot just take the reciprocal. Before we do that, we have to combine the denominators. So the way I'm going to do that is I'm going to get common denominators, but I'm going to multiply this by x plus 3, x plus 3, and multiply this by x plus 2, x plus 2. Now we have common denominators of this whole binomial. Now we can combine, so now it's x plus 3 plus x plus 2 over this whole thing, x plus 2 times x plus 3. And then this whole thing is over 1. This becomes 2x plus 5, 2x plus 5 over. I see that these are foiled, so I'm going to foil this. This is x squared plus 5x plus 6. I'm pretty fast with these binomials. Remember, FOIL is go there, go there, go there, go there. So it's x squared plus 3x plus 2x, which makes the 5x plus 6. And now, since this whole thing is over 1, that means the final answer is the reciprocal of this, which is now we can say x squared plus 5x plus 6 over 2x plus 5. And I don't think we can simplify that. And it's right there. Okay, next. 3x minus y equals 12. What is boom? All right, watch this. We've got, this looks really complicated. And the thing is, I don't want these exponents in different variables, but I can get x in terms of y. So watch, or other way around. Y in terms of x is easier. So I'm going to add y to this side while subtracting 12 simultaneously just to save time. 3x minus 12 equals positive y. I could have also isolated x, but I'm choosing to isolate y so I don't have to divide by 3 and have fractions and all this nonsense. I'm choosing the path of least resistance. So now I know it's 8 over x over, instead of y, 2 to the 3x minus 12. The next thing I'm going to do is when I got exponents I'm trying to simplify, I need the same base. 8 and 2 is no good, but 8 is simply 2 to the third power, right? So that's pretty nice. And now I can multiply in, and this is really 2 to the 3x over 2 to the 3x minus 12. And now we use my subtraction rules, right? If we're trying to simplify, it's the top exponent minus the bottom. Just like if we're multiplying, we're adding the exponent. So it's 2 to the 3x minus, don't forget parentheses, 3x minus 12. This distributes, okay? And we get 2 to the 3x minus 3x plus 12. These cancel out, and it's 2 to the 12th, which we don't need to simplify, and we're good to go. Next. All right, if this equals this for all values, and a plus b equals, okay. The rule is, the tip is, hold on, let me see how we're doing. Oh, shoot. Sorry. Let me see how we're doing on time here. 11 minutes, beautiful, right? 11 minutes, so almost 2 minutes per question. So look, at the bottom, at the end of the day, you're not sure what to do. How the heck do we figure this out? A and B, what does that even mean? Just FOIL instantly. So I'm going to FOIL that right side. Hold on, let me show you what I'm talking about. And then just have faith, because it usually is the case, that the answer will start to pop out to you. So we're going to FOIL. I've got abx squared plus 7ax plus 2bx plus 14. Okay. And now watch how nice this is going to be. Equals 15x squared plus cx plus 14. Okay, watch this. This is perfect now because I already know that this term matches up with this term, right? Those are the things that are multiplying x squared. So guess what? I already know that a times b equals 15. I also know that a plus b equals 8. This is a nice system of equations which automatically I can figure out without even I can plug something in and isolate, but I already can get an idea that a and b have to be 3 and 5. I don't know which is which, but I know that a is 3 and b is 5, or vice versa. Something like this, right? Anyways, that's pretty good. Now, if I'm trying to figure out what my value of c is, look at this. Hold on here. These two terms match up with this term, okay? So which means that, let's see, 7a, hold on. I got to think about this for a second. I know that 7ax plus 2bx equals cx, which means that 7a plus 2b equals c. And wait, do we have any other information? Hold on, abx. I know that a times b. Okay, I think there's, okay. So I think we can, let's try it both ways. I can't remember exactly. I think we have to try this, and then we'll try the opposite. So 7 times 3 is 21, plus 2 times 5 is 10. So it's 31. That's one option. Oh, yeah, exactly. And then we can switch it. And then 7 times 5 is 35. Plus 2 times 3 is 6 equals 41. Those are my two values. There we go. We can't actually boil it down any further. So it's 31 and 41. Because we know 3 and 5, we don't know the order. Okay, next. We've got t is greater than 0. Okay, so now you see these get easier. Look, what is the value of t? T is positive. It's clearly 2. You don't even have to FOIL or factor. 2 squared is 4 minus 4 is 0. Therefore, t is 2. It could also be negative 2, but it gave a limitation. Okay, next. I'm going to, can't really see the whole picture, but let's screenshot this and move it over here. Come on. And that's A up here. And that's just to fill in C down there. Okay. A summer camp counselor wants to find the length X in this length right here. And the length's represented by AB, EB. Oh boy. So it's all, yeah, I remember. AB is 1800. EB is, see, I'm going in order, right? EB is 1400. BD is 700. And CD is 800. Segments AC and DE intersect at B, blah, 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 have the same measure, AE, B, and that. Yeah, whatever. All the reason why they're telling you this and this, because those are equal and these are equal because they're vertical angles. Therefore, which you can safely kind of assume, but these are similar triangles. But they have to be, otherwise this question's impossible. So I need to find this value. Now look, I can instantly see that the corresponding sides, which are these two, right? I know that these are corresponding because they're opposite these congruent angles. It's a 2-to-1 ratio. It's doubled. Therefore, if this corresponds to this, because they're both opposite these congruent angles, that means this is double this. Therefore, it's double 800, which is 1600. Simple. Next. According to system, what is the value of X? Again, solve our system of equations. You see how much they like these types of questions. I'm just gonna let's eliminate y, save ourselves a step. So I'm going to multiply the top by -2. So now I get -2x minus 2y equal. I could have solved for y, and that's fine. It would have just taken a little longer. You see I'm distributing that -2, boom, 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 and then we add it together. Those cancel out. X minus 2x is -x equals -7. X equals 7. Done. Just for fun, x equals 7. Therefore, y equals -16. 7, -16, -32. Yeah, it works. I was just plugging it in mentally. Let's see where we're at time-wise, because we got 2 questions left. 6 minutes, perfect. So I got 3 per each, which is great at this point. If I have to, in a right triangle, guess what? I'm drawing a right triangle. That's another one of my big tips. It's not like rocket science. I'm not giving you things that are so obscure. You know, these test prep companies, they just overemphasize the fact that it's all tricks and strategies and all this nonsense. This is just not true. There's math that has to be learned. But along the way, little strategies like simply just drawing out a diagram if they mention a triangle helps immensely. So in a right triangle, one angle, choose whichever one. It's arbitrary. It measures x, where sine of x equals 4/5. Guess what? Sine of x is opposite over hypotenuse, which is, boom, that means the opposite is 4, the hypotenuse is 5. This is a 3, 4, 5 right triangle. We don't even need to know that necessarily, but that's okay. Now they say, what is cosine of 90 minus x? Well, you need to make the connection that if this is 90 degrees, this is x. This right here is 90 minus x. What is cosine of this angle? Cosine, SOHCAHTOA, you have to know SOHCAHTOA, guys. Cosine is adjacent over hypotenuse. This is cosine, this is sine, right? Adjacent over hypotenuse, so it's 4/5. Now, this ends up being the same as sine of x. This is a theorem that sine of x equals cosine of 90x for any right triangle. Do you have to have that theorem memorized? No, and I don't advocate you memorizing that theorem. What I advocate you doing is drawing out a triangle and figuring it out like that. It's much better and much easier, and really you don't save. It's the same, roughly the same amount of time. So study smart. Don't overburden yourself with a lot of memorization, because if you do and you misremember a theorem, you're done. But if you can reason it out, you're much safer. Okay, last question. A equals 5 root 2 to A equals root 2x. What is the value of x? Okay, I'm going to sub in. This is straightforward substitution. So 2 times 5 square root 2 equals square root 2x. Multiply the things outside of the square root. 10 square root 2 equals square root 2x. We want to solve for x. I'm going to square both sides. Because I'm trying to release the x from the square root, this will get rid of that square root. 10 square root 2 squared is 100. Square root 2 squared is 2. So this becomes 200 equals, and now this just nullifies the square root, equals 2x. Divide both sides by 2. X equals 100. And look, by the way, if you're ever worried about negatives and positives, I'm just saying this. You can't grid in negative numbers. It's a rule that the answer is going to be positive, just FYI. So, all right, there's my 100. And I think we're pretty good. 3 minutes left. I'm pretty confident. Normally, I would always say take whatever time you have and go back and check your work, but it doesn't matter for me in this case. And if I made a mistake, we're going to review it right now. So let's finish the test. Boom. And let's review. All right, so they're all correct. So there you have it. That is systematically how you should be approaching a no calculator math section on the SAT. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to jump over and see if you guys had any questions. And let me see if you do. And if you haven't put up anything yet, go ahead and do that. I'm taking my SAT on Wednesday instead of Saturday. Oh, Ashley. Okay. So you're taking it on Wednesday. You'll be able to watch 3 of these then, because I'll be wrapping up on Thursday. You'll miss the Wednesday one, so you'll miss the last 2, but that's still a lot. Also, Ashley, I have other SAT cram sessions that have been recorded before for other SATs, one in October, I think, and one I did in the summer in August. So you can also watch those in their entirety, and it'll give you the same content. The only benefit of watching these is you can ask me questions now and things like that. Ayush, thank you so much. Hey, Yusuf, you're very welcome. You're taking it on April 19th. All right, well, I'm going to do another cram session on April 19th as well, so no worries. Guys, any questions on the problems that I went through? Anything you want to see again, or anything you want me to review, concepts, etc., formulas? Okay. So it's looking like you guys seem pretty confident and feel pretty good about all of these tests. Now, if you're looking for more practice problems, if you're in the instance where you've kind of crushed all the SAT material from Khan Academy, you've gone through those books and stuff like that, you can buy my course. The link is in the description below. You can get a 50% discount. I'd say the real benefit of the course is that there's a lot of really good practice problems that you can do, and then I have video explanations for all of those. But if you still haven't exhausted what's on Khan Academy, then you got a lot of good stuff there that's free, and you're welcome to do that. So anyways, and for a lot of the Khan Academy problems, I have free videos on my YouTube channel that you can check out where I give video explanations for all of those. So a lot of good stuff in this next week coming up. And Natalia, I know you asked about what can you really do in a week. So a lot of it's gonna depend on how much work you put in, but I would prioritize this heavily above school if possible. Because look, at the end of the day, this one test is about equal to a 4-year transcript, really. I mean, it's that significant. So I would go all in. And the other good thing to remember is you take it in March and you can take it again in April, May, June, etc., even in August if need be. So you've got some options in terms of retaking it. And okay, so what, and Yusuf, thank you for saying that. Here's the thing, I have made one video on reading, and I'm probably going to start getting somebody on to talk more about the verbal section and tips. But I can tell you this, I mean, I can score pretty high on the reading myself. I think I got a 750 last time on the reading. I don't really do any preparation. I mean, at the end of the day, I think the reading is so much about individual reading styles, and I really don't steer students towards specific strategies of like, oh, you should always read the question first, or you should underline, or things like that, or skip over this part of the passage, whatever. I think it varies so much based on your learning style, and these test prep companies sort of get obsessed with these easily advertisable blanket strategies, but they totally miss the point of the fact of varying learning styles. I mean, my thing is figure out the way that you read most effectively and just hammer it down. Talk it over with somebody. Every time you go through a reading passage and you don't understand why you didn't get something, it doesn't have to be a tutor. A tutor would be great, or you can just talk it over with another friend who got it right and have them explain why it's correct. Really start understanding the disconnects when you get stuff wrong between your logic and the test taker's logic, test maker's logic. And I think that's going to be the key. Yes, of course, for me, I mean, I've been reading so much my entire life. I went to law school. I did all these things. So for me, reading is something that I'm very used to, and I'm just pretty fast at it. But if you're finding that time is an issue, practice more. If you're finding there's some logical misfirings, then talk it over. Really try and dive in and understand what's going on. X minus y, you could have just done 2 to the 3x minus 2 to the y 3x. Okay. You're probably right. Yes. My personal reading style is really exactly how people I think are meant to do it. I just read the passage and then I go through each question systematically. I always go back to the passage when they're like, hey, in lines 1 through 7, or in the third paragraph, the author is trying to say, and I always jump back, and I'm always going to do that, even if that's at the expense of not finishing some questions. So I don't do anything wild and anything crazy, and I don't think you have to. I've seen students make massive gains in reading comprehension for the SAT, ACT, even the IC, just simply by practicing and reviewing and studying and understanding. The most dangerous thing that the test prep industry does in the name of trying to make a quick sale or a quick buck is advertise these quick fixes. And I think it's really detrimental. One, because I think that's now what parents and students expect, especially in math, which is really frustrating. I mean, it's a math test. You got to learn the math. That's it. I'm sorry. And I'm not sorry, because it's actually pretty fun to learn the math. But even in the reading, it's just so dismissive of everything that we understand and know about the way that brains work and the varying, the variance in terms of learning style. So you can't, it's just a false precept that you can apply a generalized strategy. Now, that being said, if you're working with someone one-on-one and they're really trying to pinpoint how you study best and how you learn best and then giving you tips along the way, that's a different story. But anyways, be wary of that kind of salesmanship. Tactical plays, message retracted. Okay, thanks for doing these. Hey, you're so welcome. See, that's what I want to hear. And that's my goal is, as you watch me go through these practice problems, you're going to start understanding the mistakes you're making in terms of setup or processing or conceptually, whatever it may be. It looks like you guys are done with your questions. Thank you so much. If you like this video, guys, please click that like button. It helps me out tremendously. I'm trying to get the word out about these videos and help more people prepare for the SAT, especially those people that are motivated like you, that want to do their best and are willing to take that into their own hands. And please, if you're studying for this upcoming SAT and you want to be on all these live streams, click the subscribe button. You'll get a notification for each and every day. Every day this week it's going to be at 11 a.m. PST, but make sure to click subscribe and let me know if you have any questions in the comments section, and I'll be happy to get back to you. My name is Jugal. Go ahead. What's your question? I think this will be the last one, and then I'm going to pop off. You sure? Okay. So listen, if you do have a question and it comes to you later, just message me. Again, let me throw my email address up one more time. You can always email me, guys. Okay, there it is. Best of luck, and I'll see you guys tomorrow. Take it easy.